Well, hey YouTube, it's Elvis Ammo here. Hey, today we're going to talk about adjusting your iron sights on the AK. Whether you have an AK47, an AKM, a SKS, you have a rear iron sight right here for your holdovers. You know, from whatever numbers you have on your rear sight. You know, this one goes to 8. Okay, so you know, technically, you know, you can jump it all the way up to, you know, 1,000 yards. Of course, that's not, you know, practical, but that's the only thing that your rear iron sight is for. Let me take some of this stuff off. This is my setup, how I like mine. I use my red dot with a Midwest Industry rail on it, and it's a quick connect. You can take it on and off and it goes right back to 0. I love it. Set that aside. So the only thing that your rear sight is for your holdovers, your minute of angle. Okay, and on your AKs, they are numbered, and you see those numbers right there. All right. Well, down here, all the way back, and you pull all the way back and push it till it clicks like that. That's your starting position, your sub-zero position, whatever you want to call it. All right, that's where I leave mine because I like to keep things real simple. All right, so I can just reach back there and pull it all the way back and push it until it clicks forward. Simplified. That's where I zero mine. Everybody does things a little different. That's where I like mine zeroed at. And the best thing to do if you get an AK and you haven't sighted your irons yet, is just go ahead and start at 25 yards and get near where your point of impact that you want, and then you can push that up to the number 1 for, you know, 100 yards, for instance. Now the only difference is on your AK platform, these numbers represent meters and not yards, and that's a big difference, and it can be, especially when you're going out to 200 and 300 yards. Okay, so in other words, if you're shooting at a range that has a 100-yard target and you put this to 1, you're really only shooting at 90 yards and not 100, just to be clear. And you know, 100 meters where this is set is actually 110 yards, you know, give or take a couple of feet. All right, so you know, that's the easiest way to remember it, that you're just you know, 10 yards away from a meter. So if you're at, you know, 3 meters or 300 meters, I mean, then you can just triple that. So anyway, just so you know, the rear irons are in meters and not in yards. Just keep that in mind. If you're shooting at a 100-yard target, that's 90 meters. If you're shooting at a 100-meter target, then it's 110 yards. All right. So that's the only thing that this rear sight does. It don't give you elevation or windage to set your irons. All right. So I think we're clear on the rear. So now let's move to the front, where all the trouble happens, where all the confusion comes in. All right, because these things are, you know, quite different than what some people are used to if you're dealing with the AR platform, for instance. because on this front post you're going to adjust for elevation by moving your front post up and down, and for windage you're going to be moving that same front post right or left. Alright, and every time I say right or left, I'm speaking from behind the rifle point of view. I'm standing behind the rifle here, and if I need my point of impact to go left, I'm talking about left from my point of view of behind the rifle. Okay? Alright, cleared that up. Now, let's talk about how to adjust for windage and elevation. I'm going to zoom this thing in just a little bit here so we can get a close look. Alright, I might come in a little bit more. That's pretty good. Alright, so here's what I have. I have a tool, and it's just a cheapie, and I don't know if you can make that price out with the glare. $12.99 on there. It's just a that's what it is right there. I'll just let you see it. SKS front sight adjustment tool. Alright, it's a cheapie made in China. But keep in mind when you adjust your irons, unless this is something that you do a lot of, you're just adjusting them and they shouldn't never move on you, okay? Or that's what we think, right? Or hope. So this is the tool, and it's a weird thing for the people who are not familiar with it. Has a slot right there, and that slides over your front post, much like your AR, where you screw it up and down, alright, for elevation. The only difference with this tool, the weirdness of it, is it's got this, you screw it in and out like that, and what this does is it pushes the drum see this round thing here, it's on that side, and on this side it just pushes straight through that way or that way, and pushes your post over right or left. Alright, and that's how you adjust for windage. And the way that this tool works is, now one thing with the AK is that some of the things that's very frustrating about it is they're made by, you know, many different manufacturers, like any rifle, but with our AR platforms, they are kind of strict mil spec measurements, you know, mil specifications, military specifications, where with the AK things can get a little hairy sometimes because things aren't as close in spec as we would like, and that's why sometimes we have issues with magazines not fitting in one of our AKs as it does in the other, or feeding in one or as it does in the other, because some of them are tighter and some of them are looser. So with that said, there are little differences with our AK that we may not experience with an AR, for instance. Although there's plenty of frustrations with the AR, but not as many as you're going to find with the AK. Now, that is no issue at all for me because I love my AK. Alright, you just find the thing that works for it and you use it, no problem. Alright, now this tool has a hole right here. And what it does is it sits right over the top of this drum. Just like, let me unscrew that back a little bit so that it fits. And you take this hole right here and you fit it right over the top of that drum right there. Just kind of sits right in there like that. And then what you do is you screw this down, and then as you screw it down, like in this case, it's going to push that drum. It's going to, if I screw this tight, it's going to push this drum right. Alright, now if I want it to push the drum left, I just do the opposite. I take and I put that hole again right over that, and I screw that down and I push the drum left. Alright, now why would you push it left or right? For instance, if this is your target and this is where you're aiming, say you're aiming right here, this is the bullseye that you're aiming at, okay? And say your bullets are impacting to the left right here. Alright, that's where your bullets are impacting. Your bullets are impacting to the left of your bullseye. What you want to do is, this is your post right here. That's your post that you're looking down. What you want to do, if your bullets are impacting left, you want to push that drum left. That way. Alright, so if your bullets are impacting left and we're standing behind the rifle, we want to push that drum left. And what that'll do is it'll cause you to move your rifle over to impact your point of aim. Alright, now if your bullets are impacting to the right over here, then what we want to do is we want to move this drum to the right. So you'll put that over here. You'll line that up on that hole on the drum, tighten that up, and you'll push that drum to the right, and that'll cause your impact to move to the left to where your point of aim is. Alright, so your point of aim here is in the middle of the bullseye, and if your bullets are impacting left, you move your post left from the position standing behind the rifle. If your point of aim is on the bullseye here and your bullets are impacting right, then you move your post right. Alright, so that's how you adjust your windage. And there's one thing else that I'm going to show you that I've not done myself, but I've thought about if I didn't have this tool right here, because moving this drum isn't easy without this tool, really. I mean, you can kind of use your imagination, you know, of what would move this post left or right. Now there's different types of tools. This is probably the most popular tool, but there's other types of tools that can make this maybe a little easier, but they're a lot more expensive. And remember what I said, we usually adjust our rifle, our iron sights, and we don't really mess with them anymore, usually. Now it is good to recheck them from time to time. So this makes sense for me. But if I didn't have this tool, and I had, for instance, a little clamp like this right here, I might take a piece of wood, just a little block of wood, and drill a hole in the block of wood that is large enough for this drum to go into, and then I would put this clamp over the block of wood, and I would screw that drum into it to where this drum can go into the piece of wood. I'm just throwing that out there for somebody that might not have a tool and needs to adjust it. Alright, and you just want to make small adjustments, and then find out where your point of impact is again. Now on your elevation, best thing to do is just remove this from your little clamp. And now what I had done with this tool is, like I said before, all of these AKs are just not necessarily the exacting specifications as maybe another. So I'm not going to dog out Barska here that made this tool, but what I had to do is I had to take a little bit of sandpaper and go inside this crack and widen it, because my post right here was, let's see if I can make that focus, was a little wider than the tool itself. I don't know, I'm kind of mixed up here. So the thickness of this flat post. Now I painted it blue on both sides, and I did that so that if I was to make an adjustment of my post and turn it, it would be blue on the other side. I like using blue because it contrasts the best in nature. Okay, so I mean, you can do anything that you like. So anyway, I had to widen this hole, and then whenever I put this on my rifle to screw or unscrew for my elevation, it spread the metal out. So what I had to do is I took a piece of brass from my reloading room, and I fit a piece of brass over it, and I cut the brass off and then just sanded it down. I just pressed it on, actually, with my reloading press is what I did. That piece of brass on there. So if you see that and it looks odd, that's what I did. So it just reinforced it from this spreading out when I twist on it. Anyway, so you push this on here like this, just like we do with our AR. And I like to tap it on there and just get it to fit real good. And then once you do that, it's always going to fit your rifle, I suppose, right? So now, when you're adjusting your elevation on this rifle, on the AK or the SKS, what you want to do is, if this is your point of aim right here, and your bullets are impacting high up here, right? Then, so they're impacting above your point of aim. Then you want to turn your post counterclockwise or up. So you'll turn it counterclockwise or up. okay, counterclockwise to raise your post, and that'll lower your point of aim so that your point of impact is on your bullseye. So if your bullets are impacting low down here and your point of aim is there, then you want to turn your post clockwise or down clockwise. I'm going to turn it clockwise or down. Alright, so that's how you adjust for windage and elevation on your AK47, your AKM, your SKS. That's how it's done. Alright, now on your holdovers, usually what you'll find on your holdover is wherever your starting position is, which is here, all the way back, and then just push it up until it clicks, locks in. Wherever your starting position is usually will be the exact same as your 300 yard. Alright, there's 1, 2, 3. Alright, so your starting position is the same holdover. So starting position to 300 is the same position for your irons, your holdovers, or your minutes of angle. Just throwing that out there as a news flash for you. Alright, so that's kind of helpful to know that. Yep, I usually leave it here, and you know, I usually just hold it over, you know, mechanically, you know, with my eyeball. But of course, if you're going for precision shots, you know, more precise shots, by all means, do it however you like to do it. But there you go, YouTube. That's how you adjust your iron sights on your AK-47. Now they're just like I said, you know, there's some nuances that make things a little bit different on our AKs as opposed to the AR platform. I hope this helped. This is really a thing. This is really a subject for people. It has garnered many conversations about these adjustments, and I really just wanted to kind of throw that out there and kind of give my take on it. One of our viewers asked me to do this video, Ed Adderman. I hope this helps you, and I was you know, honored to do it. I've been wanting to do this type video, and he's a viewer and a friend on Facebook. But thank you, Ed. I appreciate you bringing that subject up. Hope this was helpful, and I hope you guys have a good day. I'll see you in the next video.